We now come to the most prestigious quantifiable big game hunting award in the world, the Pantheon. The criteria for the Pantheon are easily defined, but extremely difficult to ultimately accomplish. It takes practically a lifetime to meet all the requirements needed to enter the Pantheon ranks. For rifle hunters, one needs a Grand Slam, the Ovis and Capra World Slam Super 30s, and a Super Slam. For bow hunters, the Ovis and Capra World Slams suffice. The final requirement is SCI's top objective recognition, the prestigious World Conservation and Hunting Award. This requirement, of course, means that one's traveled to all the huntable continents and taken all the major big game of the world. And to date, there have been only 22 Pantheon inductees. Past Pantheon recipients in order of the year inducted are Hubert Thumler, Ed Yates, Rex Baker, Dennis Campbell, Ken Barr, Sudi Galapchi, J. Allen Smith, Bella Hedveci, Jim Shockey, Reddy Snyder, Alexander Egodolf, Jay Link, Archie Nesbitt, Alan and Barbara Sackman, Jose Pepe Madrazo, Gary Bogner, Brad Black, Lee Anderson, Justin Ragazine, and Gerald Warnock. Now to the 2025 inductees: Larry Higgins, Alan Mackey, and Craig Willis. Larry Higgins grew up in Farmington Hills, Michigan. His family was big into white-tailed deer hunting, so naturally, he was exposed to it early on as a child. His first successful big game hunt was for a white-tailed deer taken with his bow at the age of 12 around 1965. In 1984, Larry took his first international hunt when he traveled to British Columbia in pursuit of Rocky Mountain elk. Larry is truly addicted to mountain hunting. His first sheep hunt was for a Doll ram in Alaska back in 1993. A friend told Larry that once he started sheep hunting, he'd be hooked on the mountain game, and he certainly was. Larry achieved Grand Slam number 1186 and went on to collect 40 different wild sheep species around the world and 32 Capra species. Obviously, to achieve induction into the Pantheon, one cannot just stay in the mountains. You can easily tell by the photos on the screen that Larry's traveled all over the world in pursuit of wild game and wild places. He achieved the coveted SCI World Conservation and Hunting Award back in 2010. So the only thing standing between him and the Pantheon was the Super Slam of North American Big Game. Larry achieved Super Slam number 253 in September 2024 by taking a polar bear as his 29th trophy, qualifying him for induction into the Pantheon. Alan Mackey of Tennessee grew up in western Massachusetts, where he started hunting some 70 years ago, when his dad first introduced him to shooting a .22 rifle. Back in the late 1950s and 1960s, white-tailed deer were pretty scarce in New England, and he and his dad doubled on deer 2 years in a row, making it a front-page newspaper story. Realizing his affinity for wild places and wildlife, Al went on to pursue bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees in wildlife and fisheries management and spent a career working with Exxon, Procter & Gamble, and BP all over the world on wildlife and environmental quality programs. His hunting career progressed from New England to antelope, mule deer, and elk out west, and eventually to an African safari back when South Africa was still under an apartheid government, and Rhodesia was just getting used to being called Zimbabwe. Al has been heavily involved with SCI and has served on numerous SCI committees, subsequently as SCI Vice President, Secretary, and Chairman of the SCI Conservation Committee for 6 years. Al continued to hunt internationally to include all 6 continents, most U.S. states, all Canadian provinces, and eventually 41 African safaris and 18 trips to Asia as he pursued the various SCI awards. He went on to complete the SCI World Hunting Ring in 2012 and the World Conservation and Hunting Award in 2015. Al has since focused on the North American Super Slam as well as the wild sheep and goats of the world, with 36 sheep, 37 wild goats, and a total of 284 entries in the SCI Record Book. Craig Willis grew up in a small town just south of Dallas, Texas, with plenty of fields and creeks to play in. His father, Bill Willis, introduced him and his brother Troy to hunting at an early age. First it was small game and dove, then deer hunting. In the early 90s, Craig set his sights on even larger game, traveling further west to hunt elk, mule deer, and pronghorn. Craig's first big hunt outside the U.S. was to British Columbia in 2000 for 2 weeks in the wilderness in pursuit of moose, mountain goats, and whatever else crossed their paths that he held a tag for. Craig has done a lot of hunting, but his first love is still an old, mature mule deer buck, and he makes annual trips to hunt them each fall. He said there isn't a particular favorite hunt he has, but rather it's more about the memories, destination, and friends he's made along the way that are the best part about his various hunting adventures. Craig's pursuit of the Pantheon and all the milestones that are required to achieve it have carried him all around the globe. He completed Grand Slam number 1659, Super Slam number 137, the Capra Super 30 in 2018, and finished his Ovis Super 30 in September 2024 on a multi-species hunt to Russia, where he took 3 different snow sheep. He was presented with the SCI World Conservation and Hunting Award in 2022. There's no doubt that Larry, Allen, and Craig have certainly paid their dues and earned their place in the hunting world. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's please honor Larry Higgins, Al Mackey, and Craig Willis once again for their amazing hunting accomplishments and dedication to wildlife conservation around the world.